today we're going to multiply polynomials, and so yesterday we added and subtracted them. Today we're going to multiply the polynomials. Now there are different things that you can have there, and so you could have a situation where you had a monomial, like 3x squared, and you were trying to multiply it by, say, a trinomial. Let's just go times the trinomial here, and so let's just say it's 5x cubed plus 3x plus 4. Remember from earlier this year we had to do the distributive property to get rid of parentheses. We're still doing the distributive property even though we have a little bit more complex stuff there than we did before. It's the exact same thing that we did before there. We're applying that with our exponent rules that we've worked on here a little more recently, and we're just bringing that 3x squared into each of them. Remember that when we multiply two things that have the same base, so x squared and x cubed, when we multiply those, we're actually going to get x to the fifth. Now this is just multiplication, so it's 3 times 5, that's 15. X squared times x cubed, that's going to be x to the fifth. Now we're taking 3x squared times 3x, so it's going to be 3 times 3 is 9. X squared times x, I got to add that 1, so it's x cubed. And then I have 3x squared times 4, and then 3x squared times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, and I have my x squared. Now each time I want to make sure that it's in standard form, so I got to look, okay, where's the highest exponent? That's right here. It's first, so I'm okay there. And then, are there any duplicates? You know, does it work its way down? Okay, it does. And are there any duplicates? And so here I'm done. It's in standard form. I've completed the problem there. Let's look at maybe another one that's more complicated. Let's look at one that's a binomial. A binomial, remember, has two terms, so we'll go like the 3x squared, but this time we'll go minus 2. And let's take that times a trinomial. So let's go 8x to the fourth minus 3x plus 2. Now this gets a little bit more complicated, not because the concept is any different, but just because there are more things there. And so I have to take this whole thing right here, the 3x squared minus 2, and I have to multiply it by this whole thing. So not just times x, 8x to the fourth, not just times the 3x to the 2, but everything times everything here. So you look at it, there are 2 terms here, and there are 3 terms here. So when I do this, I should end up with 6 different terms initially when I go through and do all the multiplication. And so let's look at where those 6 come from. Well, one's going to be, when I take that 3x squared and I multiply it by the 8x to the fourth. But I also have to take the 3x squared and multiply it by the 3x, and I also have to take the 3x squared and multiply it by the 2. So I'm bringing it through everything. Now, just like I'm bringing the 3x squared through and multiplying it by everything, I also have to bring the minus 2, because I'm not just multiplying by 3x squared, I'm multiplying by 3x squared minus 2. So I got to bring that negative 2, and I got to bring that through and multiply it by everything. So you start looking at the lines I've drawn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where the 6 different terms are going to come from. So let's go ahead here. I'll move somewhat quickly through the math. 3 times 8 is 24. X squared times x to the fourth is x to the sixth. 3x squared times negative 3x. Well, that's going to be minus 9, because 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. X squared times x is x cubed. And then I have 3x squared times a positive 2. That's going to be plus 6x squared. Now I continue moving on. Now I'm taking negative 2. Notice it is negative 2. I always got to look slightly to the left. So I have negative 2 times 8. That's negative 16. Remember, negative goes with subtraction and positive goes with addition there. So since it's negative 16, I'm going to go minus 16 and then x to the fourth. Now negative 2 times negative 3. Negative times negative is positive, so plus. And then that's going to be 6x. And finally, negative 2 times positive 2. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. Look initially, 2 terms, 3 terms. So I should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm good. Now that does not mean I'm done. It just means that I've taken care of everything that I needed to. In order to be done, it has to be in standard form. I look for the highest exponent. The highest exponent, as I write this in standard form, I need to look for the highest exponent, which is the 6 there. So I have 24x to the 6th power. Now I look for the next one is 5. Well, there are no 5s, so then I go 4s. Okay, here's a 4 there. There's no other 4s, so it's just minus 16x to the 4th. Keep working your way down. 3s. Are there any other 3s to combine with? No. Minus 9x cubed. Are there any 2s? plus 6x squared. So this one ends up working out where I just have to reorder things. Remember, when you reorder things, to always look slightly to the left, this is minus 4, this was minus 16x to the fourth here. So you got to always look to the left to see what goes with it. Check real quick, make sure there's no duplicate exponents. Make sure that you go from the highest exponent to the smallest exponent. Now let's actually look at a situation that happens most frequently. It happens so much that there's actually a special acronym that we'll use for this. The acronym we'll use is FOIL. And the situation that happens over and over is a binomial times a binomial. So something like 2x plus 7, and then maybe we're multiplying that by 3x minus 4. The actual process is exactly the same as we just did there. And so the actual process is you're going to take the 2x times the 3x, then the 2x times the 4. You're going to take the 7 times the 3x, and the 7 times the negative 4. The acronym to help remember that is FIRST. So you're going to do the first terms, the first thing in each parentheses. Then outside, inside, and last. And so first times first, outside times outside, inside times inside, and then finally the last one's there. The actual process is exactly the same. This is just to help you remember kind of that order. So we're going to take 2x times 3x, that's 2 times 3, which is 6, and x times x, which is x squared. 2x times negative 4, which is minus 8x. And then we have, now we have the inside, which is 7 times 3x, that's 21x. And then we have finally the last 7 times negative 4 is minus 28. Highest exponents here. Now be careful, this is not in standard form, not because we don't go from the highest to the lowest, but because we can combine the middle terms here. So as I combine the middle terms, I will get a positive 13x. And so I end up with 6x squared plus 13x minus 28. All right, and end things off as I typically like to. I'm going to end off with just a little joke, and then as usual, I want to make sure that we make our standard reference to bacon. And so make sure you get out tonight and have some bacon. Enjoy the sizzling and the incredible taste of some nice, healthy bacon. I had a student in one of my classes, and I was really surprised. The student came to class, and they had their father with them, and I said, "Why did you bring your father to class today?" They said, "I thought we were having a pop quiz." Have a good night.